We have been waiting for this show for about 2 years now. Ever since season 1 of Daredevil in 2015, we were promised The Defenders, which was a team-up show of 4 Marvel street-level heroes: Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. Now we have had all of the characters' respective shows, we now have The Defenders, and it is certainly powerful. I really liked how this season started out, as it doesn't just jump straight into the team-up. We spent a lot of time in the first couple of episodes catching up with each of the individual heroes to see what they are getting up to, and this is actually quite interesting. It is made more interesting by the fact that all of their individual stories link into one another, and the villain of the season, the Hand. Speaking of the Hand, they were pretty great here. They have been set up in both Daredevil Season 2 and Iron Fist Season 1, and we finally get to see the 5 fingers of the Hand, which are the leaders. One of these leaders is the main villain of the show, that is Sigourney Weaver as Alexandra. She was fantastic and links into the characters in a really fun and unique way. So, how are each of the heroes? Well, Matt Murdock is in an interesting place after Season 2 of Daredevil, and it provides a nice inner conflict for his character when we first meet up with him. Jessica Jones is the one we haven't seen in the longest time, and she has been laying kind of low after what happened with Kilgrave, but she then gets involved with something which drags her back into this overarching story. Luke Cage has just come out of prison and is living with Claire Temple, played once again by Rosario Dawson. Luke is respected now in Harlem and is doing his best to be the hero Harlem deserves. Danny Rand has been spending his time hunting down the Hand with Colleen Wing, and he is determined to bring them down after all that went down in Iron Fist Season 1. Sticking with Danny Rand, he is massively improved since we last seen him in Iron Fist. Danny is pretty much the central character of the show, but don't let that turn you away. Danny is a much more compelling character this time around, and you actually begin to like him. He still has a few whiny, bratty moments, but on the whole, pretty good. Also, Colleen Wing is back, and she is fantastic once again in this show. I can't get enough of her character. She was great in Iron Fist, and she's great here again in The Defenders. The action is great. All the stunt choreography is absolutely fantastic. It is tight and vicious, and you really feel every punch. Going back to Danny Rand, his stunt choreography in Iron Fist was done in a way where you didn't believe he was actually good at fighting, whereas here, you do really buy that he is the Iron Fist that he's constantly going on about. He doesn't say it as much in this as he did in Iron Fist, but it's still there, and it's still in the back of your mind because it is quite funny. However, there are a couple of negatives. Foggy and Karen from Daredevil show up a few times, pretty much because they have to. However, I felt their appearances were a little forced, and in reality they didn't actually bring anything to the season, and in some points they were actually quite annoying with how they were handling Matt Murdock going back to the Daredevil life, and it made their characters, who are pretty likeable in their own show, quite annoying. Furthermore, I also liked how each of the stories tied into the main plot. Some of them did feel a little convenient at times though. This is especially prominent when you look at Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. Both of their stories that connect into the main plot just feel a bit weak in comparison to Matt and Danny's stories. I also wasn't the biggest fan of the return of Misty Knight. She is not bad at all, and I really like her character in both Luke Cage and here in The Defenders. However, I just wasn't a fan of how she was used in this show, as I felt she slowed down the plot quite a lot of times, and it was quite irritating, but she does become a lot more interesting towards the end, to be fair. Overall, I had a great time with The Defenders. The show is super fun and definitely rewatchable. By having 8 episodes, the show feels tight and coherent, and although the show does have some problems with character and plot ties, it is probably the best culmination of all 4 of these shows we could have asked for, especially because they've been building it for 2 years, and for being kind of the B-Tech Avengers, this is definitely the best version of it I think we could have gotten in live action form. I give The Defenders Season 1 an A-.